This is a reading from the Gospel of St. Mark. The apostles rejoined Jesus and told him all that they had done and taught. Then he said to them, "You must come away to some lonely place all by yourselves and rest for a while." For there were so many coming and going that the apostles had no time even to eat. So they went off in a boat to a lonely place where they could be by themselves. But people saw them going, and many could guess where, and from every town they all hurried to the place on foot and reached it before Jesus. So as he arrived ashore, he saw a large crowd, and he took pity on them, because they were like sheep without a shepherd, and he set himself to teach them at some length. The Gospel of the Lord. In our world, and in particular in our own city, there is an awareness of the needs of the homeless. Many efforts have been made by civic and religious groups to reach out to those who find themselves homeless. As we hear often, many people are living just one paycheck away from a similar fate when they cannot pay their rent or their mortgage. Almost all of us have no idea what goes through the mind of people who find themselves in this situation or how they suffer in their spirit. Fortunately, the motivation for almost all of those involved in reaching out to the needy is a respect for the dignity of others, a dignity given by God. Love is a powerful emotion, but an even more powerful conviction when we reach out to those in need, when we show them compassion, and not only our pity or respond out of guilt. In the Gospel today, we hear how Jesus responded to the people who sought him out, people in need. They would not leave him or the apostles alone. They sought his profound preaching and they sought his healing. The preaching of others did not resonate with them and present them with the fullness of revelation as did that of Jesus. No one could heal the sick and bring release to the possessed as Jesus could. Under these circumstances, it was difficult for him to say no. He did have the words of everlasting life, and he did have the power to heal and to forgive sins. Indeed, they were those sheep without a shepherd, and he was it. He was their shepherd. Despite being tired and seeking out peace and quiet, Jesus did respond to the needs of the people. At the end of the Gospel, we hear he had compassion for them. Again, there are different translations in different Bibles. The one I used, it did say he had compassion, not pity. This word compassion is very significant to me. It means to suffer with. That is a world of difference from pity. When I think of pity, I think of holding the person at a distance, feeling sorry for them, but not really wanting to get involved. Perhaps we have pity for someone asking for a handout when we pass them a few dollars or go on our way. However, compassion implies that we try to imagine the situation and feelings of the other person, that I respond from the heart to their need. This is not easy or not even desirable for some. I can't honestly say to someone who is suffering from cancer, "I know how you feel," or to someone who is trying to free themselves from addiction to alcohol, "I know how you feel." I honestly don't know how they feel. I can imagine, but I don't know the true predicament, the fear or the doubt that they have. It is like when we ask someone, "How are you feeling?" And then we regret it when they actually tell us how they feel. Do I want to imagine the feeling of loss that a friend feels who has lost a loved one? Do I want to imagine the thoughts and feelings of a person who is undergoing treatment for cancer? Do I want to imagine the battles of the recovering alcoholic? Let me take the liberty to say that most of us would say no. Life is messy, and our own life is messy enough without getting into the stuff of other people's lives. Yet today we celebrate that Jesus had compassion for us. He is one with us in our loss, in our fear, and in our battles. He is one with us. He knows and understands and feels our pain and our needs, as well as our joys and victories. That is because he is the good shepherd, and the shepherd is all about the sheep. We are the sheep of his pasture, and he is intimately involved in our lives, including the messes of our lives. Just like in the gospel, he does not run away from us when we approach him or try to escape from us. Rather, he is there for us. He is compassionate. He enters into our lives with his saving word and with his saving grace. He wants to enlighten us and bring us true freedom through his truth. He seeks to heal and raise us up. In the first reading from the prophet Jeremiah, God assures the people that he will send them shepherds to guide them. They will no longer fear and tremble, but will find security with him. None of them will be lost or go missing. Jesus will fulfill that prophecy, being that shepherd. In the second reading from the letter of Paul to the Ephesians, Paul reminds the Ephesians that they have been reconciled with God by the blood of Christ. Jesus has entered into our mess and has brought us peace with God. In the psalm, we echoed the words of the psalmist, "The Lord is my shepherd, there is nothing I shall want." That is a declaration of faith that Jesus, our good shepherd, fulfills our need. He leads and guides us. He nurtures and cares for us. He protects us. The readings for this weekend invite us to recognize and reflect upon Jesus as our good shepherd. In our own lives, we recognize his compassion. In our need, whatever it may be, we have felt that he suffers with us. He is not far off, uninterested, or disengaged. Just as the people of the time and place hounded him with their need, perhaps we too often hound Jesus with our need. Maybe he answered us in a way we did not expect, or at a time we do not understand. We may have thought it was the wrong answer. However, with the passage of time, we may have seen that Jesus knew more about us and about life and about the situation than we gave him credit for. He really did suffer with us. Our gospel also asks us to go one step further, to be compassionate with others, to make efforts, real efforts, to suffer with others. It isn't enough to say, "I know how you feel," especially when it is an outright lie. We need to take the risk and enter into the messes of others with the love and truth of Christ. It is a risk because we may not want to know, we may not want to feel, we may not want to be a part of it. But it is compassion that heals and raises us, not pity. It is compassion that makes us shepherds of one another, good shepherds. We have to ask ourselves if we are all about the sheep or all about ourselves. Jesus, the Good Shepherd, teaches us through these readings about following him and sharing his life.